Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks so much for being here on this beautiful sunny day. So my name is Ganita, and I head up the London chapter of Products That Count. And for those of you who are here for the first time, Products That Count is a community of 15,000 product managers and innovators. It started off in the San Francisco Bay Area, and since then it has expanded to London and is also growing into New York. And this is our second event in London, so I'm sure perhaps a lot of you may be coming to our events for the first time. So we'd love to have you come back again. So basically this is how it works. Every month we call an awesome speaker to an amazing venue to give a unique talk about what makes a great product. And that is the whole philosophy behind Products That Count. So today we are extremely grateful to TransferWise for being able to host us at this event at almost the 11th hour when our previous venue had to pull out. TransferWise, as you can see, is an amazing place to work. I don't know about you, but I would love to work in a balcony on a sunny day like this. Yeah, we're very grateful to them for hosting us. I believe they're also recruiting, so you should definitely check out their page at transferwise.com/jobs if you're interested. I also just want to give a quick shout out to our global sponsors, Pragmatic Marketing. So for the aspiring product managers in the room, it's definitely worth checking out their website, Pragmatic Marketing. They do great talks for product managers, and yeah, so I will leave it at that. So on to today's talk, getting your first 1 million mobile users. I don't know about you, but I am really excited for this talk because obviously mobile is really important these days with how much time we spend on our mobile phones. But personally for me, we literally just launched an app that I've been working on for some time on the Google Play Store and App Store, and it was launched today. So it's called Showcased, and it was literally just launched today. And so I'm going to be paying really close attention to Joel's talk, and also perhaps participating in the Q&A session about how I can get 1 million app downloads for this. So really looking forward to it. So on to our speaker, Joel. Joel is the CEO and co-founder of Grabble and Popcorn. He has launched apps that have been featured in app stores in over 100 countries, and we are very honored to have him today here to give us a very insightful talk on getting your first million mobile users. So without further ado, everyone, please join me in welcoming Joel.
Well, thank you everybody for coming. I was really proud to be invited to come talk to everybody. And what I want to do is I want to make this as interactive as possible, just so we get as much as it as possible. So I prepared some slides on the talk, and what I want to talk about is kind of getting your first users and the techniques and how you bring that into your design and how you think about trying to get organic downloads and how you start to think about getting paid customers. And I'm going to run through those a bit. If there's anything that people have questions on, just please shout out. Don't be scared, because I think this is the best way to learn. So, without further ado, the way that I want to go through it, I want to tell you a bit about myself and the journey that we've been through, so I can explain a little bit about how we kind of got the understanding, and then wanted to think a little bit about how you can think about apps in a framework that we've been using. So I've called it Lessons from the Front Line, and my personal feeling is it is very much like being at the front line when you're working in an app company. Being in it, you get to learn all about it and can tell you a little bit about some of the mistakes that we've made, and I think that's kind of what you have to go through. So you do have to go through some of these mistakes. When you feel like you're working at an app company looking for growth, it does feel a bit like that sometimes when you're trying to kind of do something that's going to make a difference, and you're, as a team, working towards it, you'll have a lot of failures to get that one success that's going to work really well. So who are we? I'm a co-founder of an award-winning business called Grabble, and it's part of a large organisation that we started called Modular. We've won prizes, including one embarrassing last night. The Europas were on, and we won the best mobile startup. Unfortunately, I was ill, and there was no one there to pick it up. So there's a few pictures on Twitter of some very confused looking people trying to present an award and no one there. But we've been featured in lots of different magazines, and we won Pitch at the Palace about 2 years ago when we launched Grabble. And these are the apps that we're really well known for. This is a screenshot from the App Store that we're quite proud of when Popcorn was released at the same time that Gravel was actually featured. So Popcorn was an app that we did as a bit of an experiment. We did it over a weekend using a platform that we built internally at Modular. So we did it as a hackathon. We wanted to come up with an idea internally that we thought would be fun, so we built Popcorn on a weekend. And we launched it, and within 4 months we got 400,000 downloads without doing a single piece of marketing. People tell you they didn't do any marketing, but we really didn't. You know, there's no Twitter, there's no Facebook page, there's no Instagram, there isn't anything. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how that works. And then Gravel is the app that we're the best known for, so I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. So the mission of Modular, sorry these slides are not as aligned as they should be, is that when we were building Gravel, it was hard. Getting to an amazing product is really difficult. And when people are using apps, they're thinking about the quality of your brand with the quality of your product. And if you see a majority of apps that are out there, the quality isn't that high. So actually building an app that's got great design, great interactions that people feel comfortable with is difficult. So all the work that we did to make Gravel beautiful, we started to think that actually we should be using this knowledge and using the talent we have available to start building a platform. So the aim of Modular is to create a fully modular mobile-first solution to power a native future effectively. So the ability for people to make great apps that are fully native on iOS and Android without having to use any code. And I'll come back to this a little bit at the end of the presentation. But what we think about is apps have been in a really interesting cycle over the last 4 to 5 years. So 5 years ago, everyone's like, apps are going to take over absolutely everything. People can use apps for everything they do in their daily lives, and every transaction that I do on my phone needs to be an app. So everyone, in users, investors, are very bullish about native apps. And now we've seen over the last couple of years, the PR's changed slightly, in that now people are saying actually there are 10 apps that people are using on their phone all the time, and then potentially there's a couple of others which are a little bit different, and that potentially we don't need an app for everything, and mobile web is actually the future. And it's this amazing kind of back and forth between mobile web and native apps. And what we're starting to see over the last 6 months, in line with the hypothesis we've had for about a year or so, is that native apps are coming back in a big way. And speaking to some investors, especially VCs, that's kind of the hypothesis as well, which if you look at kind of the growth of apps for things like enterprise and the way that it affects people's productivity, there's this huge rise in apps that are serving a purpose for people. So that's why we're fully focused on building this native platform that's going to make it easy for people that have ideas, that have businesses, that have a need to build these beautiful apps. Because at heart, that's always what we've wanted to do. We've wanted to build amazing mobile products, and I think for me that's where everything starts, is building something that's really beautiful that people enjoy using. And as a company, that's very much what we've got at heart. When it starts from design to build, it's like, can we make a beautiful product? So a quick summary, the way that we were thinking about mobile when we started Modular and wanted to launch Gravel was users are in a mindset of being between busy and bored. It sounds like an interesting paradox, but when you think about what you do on your phone, you're using your phone because you're using apps on the go. So you're busy, you might be in a taxi, you want to use your email, you might want to get Uber, you want to get Citymapper because you're in a rush, you need to get somewhere really quickly. But then there is a whole raft of apps for when you're bored. You know, that feeling where you're sitting at home, essentially you're swiping on Tinder, you're on Instagram, you're actually killing a lot of time. So that's the way that we look at apps, especially consumer apps, through that matrix. So we came up with the idea of launching Gravel. And the idea was very simple. It was, let's try and create a really engaging consumer app around fashion for people that are actually bored. So what we did was we thought it'd be really great if we could create an app where people can swipe through products, effectively like a Tinder experience. So swipe through fashion products, so you can get to a different set. So you say, I want to look at dresses, and swipe your way through them. The first app that we made, I designed it on the back of a napkin over a weekend, and everyone still hear me? I love it. So I designed it on the back of a napkin, and we didn't have very much money at the time. So I did what anyone would do in that situation. I found an agency. So I did like anyone would in their right mind. I found an agency in Pakistan that would build it for the money that I had. So we found an agency and we built the first version effectively over Skype. We got it into the App Store on iOS and Android at the same time, which is always a big mistake unless it's kind of a network effect app. And we put it in the App Store, and within 2 weeks we started this Twitter campaign and it started trending. This whole idea that it was Tinder for fashion became incredibly popular. And I think when you go to lots of different talks and people say, if you can describe what your product does in 3 words, that's incredibly important. And that's what we found. Creating something that people could say in 3 words, it created an incredibly viral product. So we started trending on Twitter, and we became the 7th most downloaded app in the UK within the first few weeks, which is absolutely incredible.